Hello, gorgeous. It is Lala Kent. Welcome to the Give Them Lala podcast. We're fresh off of, we've had Halloween happen.
Oh, spooky.
Spooky season. Janet showed up to trick or treat.
Oh, hey.
Woohoo. Hi, Janet Caperna.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
We're more excited.
I love it.
We're very excited because you kill it on Sheena's podcast.
Thank you.
You're like seasoned in the podcast world.
Thanks.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it felt like the right thing to do. Jared, Jason, and I have our own now too. And I love podcasting. It's so fun.
Let's talk about that first. What made you go, you know what? We need to start a podcast because not to throw shade at anybody, even I sit here and I'm like, there are 1,000,001 podcasts. Mm-hmm. That trio, though, with you, your husband, Jason, and then your GUSband, Jared.
Yep.
What is the dynamic like, and what would you say your podcast is like? Like, what do you guys talk about?
I love it. So I love to chat, and I feel like that's all I do. So it felt right for me to have one, and I felt like Sheena kind of gave me training wheels with hers. Like I got to co-host, and it wasn't, my podcast, but I got to be around regularly, and I was like, I really like this. So I wanted to do my own, but I wanted it to be a little bit different than everybody else. And I didn't want it to just be me. So I was like, okay, well, I would love Jared on. And then I was like, but Jared and Jason have such a great dynamic that you don't see that often. And so I was like, it'll be fun if the three of us do it. And now we also call Jason like our legal expert. So Jared and I will be in there. Jared will be like, she literally did this. And Jason will be like, but wait, did she actually do that? And he's like, well, no. And he's like, well, then you need to say allegedly.
We live and die by allegedly.
Yes. And so it's like a fun, interesting, dynamic of the three of us that I don't think you see very often. And we just talk shit on there.
I love that. Now, you're on a show called The Valley.
I've never heard of it.
Oh my God. It's crazy.
You just finished season 2, and I am well aware that Bravo will have my head and your head on a platter if we deep dive into it. So I'm going to stay away from it. But I do want to know, was it weird when you first started filming and they're like, just live your life? When someone tells me to do something that I do pretty much every day, I suddenly forget how to do it.
Yes. Yeah. It's an awkward thing. Like they'll be, you'll be like, we'll be over this morning, just whatever your morning routine is. And I'm like, so you want to watch me like scroll on TikTok and like
take a shit?
Yeah, like what?
Like my morning routine is not beautiful, I'll tell you what.
I'm like, what am I supposed to? I don't know. It is. It's like suddenly you like realize you have hands and you're like, what am I supposed to do with these? What do you mean?
Strange, right?
Yeah. It's weird. And the whole process, it really does, I think, take a year to get used to because when you film, you get close to the crew and the people who are around all the time. So it feels, you kind of in a weird way do forget that cameras are there, or it feels comfortable that cameras are there. Then time passes before it airs, and that's a whole other beast and situation.
Scary.
And you watch it all back, and then you see everybody's perception of it. And so it really is like a full year of like, getting in it before you really realize what it is.
I feel like Jason, the first season, was very much like, oh, this is strange. And then I feel like not only Jason, but most people, and just what I've seen when I like see a new season of Housewives where it's like a brand new city, brand new people that are just like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And then come the second season, they know the drill. Mm-hmm. And you never know, is it your turn?
Right.
Is it my turn? I don't know.
Right.
And if you go past a few seasons, you're going to have more than one bad run.
Yeah.
And it can sometimes take you out. Do you feel like season 2, you kind of have been able to adjust to like, okay, I know when to quiet the noise. I know when to not look. We talk about this all the time. Janet.
I don't know if I learned my lesson season 1 per se. It's interesting, and it's, I actually used to, like, make fun of Sheena. She would be like, well, season 4, and I'm like, well, what year are you talking about? Like, she lives her life in seasons. But it really is like that now, and it's crazy because it is a different chapter. So season 1, I was pregnant. Season 2, I had just stopped breastfeeding right before we started filming so that I could really, like, have a drink, get in the mix.
Right.
And that was a totally different thing for me, like, I had never had a drink on camera before. I don't know if it was a great idea.
There are scenes, and this is what I try to tell, like, when people are now in this environment, you know, the cringe moments that you sometimes have where you look back or like you watch it and go, oh my gosh, I never should have acted that way, will one day become iconic.
And funny.
And
Yeah.
you'll be able to laugh about it. And I try, when I'm having all the anxiety in the world about a season or a moment, I'm like, there's going to be a day where we're all like super old and we're going to look back and we're going to forget all of those like little nuances
Yeah.
and just remember that we were on a really cool show.
I had the core experience with this group of people.
Right.
And you're bonded in a really, maybe even like trauma bonded in
The
some
trauma
ways.
I feel like
for
that's
sure.
what it is. I have a question. What is
Yeah.
the worst part of filming? The filming mentally, waiting for it to release, or when it releases? And I feel like that's a thing for both of you. Like, what is the worst part of
Like in all three
of it?
stages?
Yes. Is
That's
it
a good
the
question.
filming? What you filmed and waiting for it to release and thinking, what is everybody going to fucking think of me? Or having people watch you through it?
I think there's pros and cons to each. During filming, it's just it's a busy time.
Just get
you're
through it.
doing so much and it all happens so fast and you're just kind of like, you kind of almost have to like pause, like doing laundry or like anything that like your like everyday life kind of has to pause because you're just like busy.
Right.
Afterwards, once I'm done, I don't have anxiety about it. I feel maybe I should, but right now that we're in that in between the quiet time, I like this time a lot.
Well,
This
I
is
feel
the
like because
peace.
you're real and honest, the people who weren't, who are like, oh
Yeah.
God, I feel like that's their shittiest time.
I have moments that
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's gonna be bad, or like, okay, like my
Can't
mom
wait.
might be like, what the hell were you thinking?
I wasn't.
you know, during the whatever. So I know I'm gonna have moments that I'm not super proud of, or that I'm not looking forward to rewatching. But right now, what can I do about it? It's gonna be months and months. So I try to enjoy the quiet, get back into like laundry and organizing my house and doing all the boring shit that like you don't necessarily have time
Going
for.
back to being a normal human.
Yes, and just enjoy the basic everyday life. When it's airing, I will say I think for me that's the most anxiety I have.
Oh my God.
Because sometimes when I'll see an episode and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right. I said what I said. I think that they summed up how I felt really well. That was fair. And I think people are going to understand. And then the audience sees
There
it
you go.
24 hours later and they're like, fuck her. What was she? And I'm like, what?
Oh no.
You're like, I came across so great in that episode. I was logical.
Right.
Saw both sides.
Or there's
What?
times where I'm like, oh man, that I shouldn't have said that one thing and it's in and everybody's going to drag me for it and people breeze right past it. So I would say like the hardest part is you can't ever feel like you can watch something and feel like, oh, it's super great or it's horrible and it might not be what everybody else thinks. And it's hard to
100%.
guess.
And you know what we're going to say,
I
T?
was just gonna say, from first season to second, what did you find out you enjoyed more or less?
I think second season I just was like, I realized I just need to stop and enjoy the process. I'm like, okay, when the first season it was like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? And I was pregnant. So I was also just like,
Very hormonal.
couldn't wait for everything to be done and to get back to just like being a homebody.
home.
Right.
And now second season, I was like, it's as soon as you start saying like, oh, I need a break, it's over in a heartbeat and it flies by. So I could kind of reassure myself season 2, okay, enjoy the time and, know that you get to see your friends like every day. When we're not filming, we see each other frequently, but during filming, it's like you get to see everybody every day. Like try to actually enjoy
I love that you said that.
time. And then wait for it to be over because it'll be over. It flies by.
I know. It's really sad. Don't even get me started on time because I have I don't know if it would be called an unhealthy relationship with time, but it brings me to my fucking knees when I think of time passing and things being over and done. And I feel like when you film a show, like back in the day, like you never know where you're going to end up, right?
Totally.
And you always end up in a place where you're like, wow. And as time goes by, you're like, I wish that I would have, I get asked this all the time too, by the way. Like, what would you tell your younger self? Or what would you tell season 4 you? And it reminded me of there's this new movie that has come out. So I want to talk about the movie trailer. And this is what prompted me because I also want to know what you think, Janet. So there's this movie that I saw this weekend, and it's called My Old Ass, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime. But basically, the movie is about an 18-year-old girl who takes mushrooms, and the trip she goes on brings her face to face with her older self. And of course, her older self is telling her all the things that she should and shouldn't do in her life. And it made me start thinking what I would tell my younger self if I had the chance. So Easton and Janet, I'm sure you guys have some things that you would like to warn your younger self about. And I want to know what those things would be if you could go back in time. Whether it's yay high, last season, what would you tell your younger self?
Oof. You know, I think I would actually tell myself, like, it's all going to be okay. Just do it and let myself actually make the same mistakes, because now, you know, everything leads you to where you are now, and I'm happy where I am now. So I'm also really afraid of like butterfly effect stuff. Like if you change one thing, then the smallest thing like that could disrupt the whole big picture in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would tell myself like, everything's going to be okay. You're going to go through some shit, but it's all going to be okay.
I love that. I'm scared of things like that too, though. I'm like, one little change and the whole picture looks different.
Fucking
Now you've got his anxiety
that?
going.
Oh my God. I really know. Like
What would you tell your younger self, TT?
to not be afraid to put yourself out there. Like, don't worry about other people's opinion of you. You know who you are. And then there's success and failure. So always try and you'll learn from it. So I would just say, put yourself out there and don't be afraid to try.
Yeah.
And fail.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ours are all very like cute and sentimental. I think if I could go back and tell my younger self something, I think I'd go back and be like, I'm just here for the ride. Like, don't listen to me. Like, I may know what the future holds, but like, it looks pretty fucking awesome. So just like do the damn thing. The one thing I'm going to tell you though, girl, is like, you know how you are a drinker, you're soon going to be an AA, and that's all good. Like, you're going to thrive in it, but like, maybe don't like say stupid things that you're going to regret tomorrow. Those things, like, just shut up, you know?
That's fair.
Because like you said, one thing that would be different, the entire picture looks different. Mm-hmm. And I can go back in time and say, I wish I wouldn't have done X, Y, and Z. Well, then Ocean wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. You know, Sosa wouldn't be here. So I love everyone's answers.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
I know.
Me in anxiety.
I often think back to when I first met Sheena, I was staying at an Airbnb that was in Hollywood. My friend and I went to a bar that was walking distance from our Airbnb. And we asked the bartender, like, what's cool in LA to do? Like, what should we do today? And the bartender was like, you should go to the Mondrian. They have a pool party. And that's where I met Sheena. And life all happened. Like, I always joke, I'm going to write a memoir one day that's like, I owe my life to Sheena Shea.
That's amazing.
Because if I wouldn't have met her, I wouldn't be doing The Valley and wouldn't have this whole life now. It's, you know, become my career. I wouldn't have met Jason, so I wouldn't have had my baby, my husband. Like, so much has come from my friendship with Sheena, a lot, my friendship with you.
Right.
Know, literally where I'm sitting here right now is all because of that one day, and it's because this one bartender told us to go to this pool, and I started a friendship that then started a relationship, like everything. So I often think back, like, if I would have gone somewhere else that day, my life would be completely different.
Totally.
A bartender started your life.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think back to, like, if I wouldn't have picked that Airbnb that was near that bar, it's like all these little choices that you don't think of. You're like, oh, which Airbnb? I don't know, this one or this one. I'll just pick this one. And it ends up like leading you down this path that's now, you know, my life would literally be completely different.
Wow.
I'm very happy that you said that, and this was a topic. You
How wild
crazy?
Yeah.
that the movie My Old Ass would take us on such an incredible journey of being grateful for the life choices that we've made. Ever wish you could have a talk with your younger self? In My Old Ass, starring Aubrey Plaza and Maisie Stella from Amazon MGM Studios, Elliot's wisecracking older self gets the chance. My Old Ass, rated R, coming soon to Prime Video. All right, my loves, holiday season is fast approaching, but do not worry because I'm here to help. I'm going to tell you one of my secrets, Etsy. Etsy knows what kind of holiday gifting reactions you're looking for this year. The screams of delight, the happy tears, maybe spontaneous joyful singing. Am I right? Well, to get those kinds of reactions, you need to make sure everyone in your life feels heard with homemade, hand-picked, and designed gifts from the small shops of Etsy. I already have my eye on a pair of monogrammed gold earrings for my mom and some cute personalized bibs for baby Sosa and an adorable personalized necklace for O. Etsy makes it so simple to find original items that will make everyone on your list feel extra special. It will be love at first gift, and the kind of love you can only get when a gift is truly thoughtful and perfect for that person. So shop Etsy this holiday season for personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it. So Janet and I, we've been friends for a really long time.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because when people see me post with you, they're like, she's trying to get on the Valley. I'm like, honey, I'm a fucking star. I could be
More
on the
like
Valley.
I'm trying to
Just kidding.
drag Lala onto the Valley.
No, but we've been friends for a really long
Yeah.
time before the Valley even existed. And you and I took our families. You were kind enough to invite us to go trick-or-treating with you.
We had so much fun.
It was so much fun. What were you?
Oh, so we were food. Cameron was a hot dog. Our
Yes.
son. He was so cute as a hot dog.
He was adorable.
And then I was a hamburger, and Jason was French fries, and then Jared was a donut.
yes. And it was...
So we
You
were all
have
junk
to
foods.
tell.
Oh, I'm going to tell the story. I'm just going to round this back one time. So I left Sosa at home with the night nurse. Ocean decided to be a skeleton that night. I wanted to dress her as Cinderella, but there's no telling her what she's doing. When she has her mind made up, you can fuck right off.
I was going to ask, like, what's the process for asking her? Do you just say, hey, you have to dress up for... Like, I feel like this is the first year that she could be, like, picky about what she
dresses
wanted.
up every day.
She dresses up as a princess every
Every
day.
day.
But yeah, I gave her options because she is all over the place. So I kind of have to bring her back down to like giving her a couple of options
Yep.
and then she picks. So she went to a party the day before Halloween as a princess and then to trick or treat as a skeleton. And she loved her face paint, right? The plan was Cinderella for her and Sosa was going as Gus.
Oh.
Sosa didn't even dress up because she was adamant that she was going to be a skeleton. And I'm like, well, now Sosa's just going to look like a mouse, all right? Which is still cute, but also sounds very hard for me to have to deal with pushing her around.
Yeah.
And the reason I say I'm weird with time is I looked at Ocean and was like, next year she's going to be a fully different human being.
Yeah.
You know? Like she went with her dad on a vacation. It was 1 week. She came back saying her R's. So
Aw.
what was once summer moon is now summer moon.
Oh, no.
I hate it.
I hate it, too.
That makes me want to cry.
I
No, it was
know. She's just
awful.
growing up.
Oh.
So time brings me to my knees.
Yeah.
But I had the best time with you guys because it's always just lighthearted and fun. And Jared, who I call your GUSband.
Yes.
I walk up because Cam can't walk yet.
No, we were pushing him.
He's a stroller trick-or-treater, right?
Oh, the best.
The
Yeah.
best guy.
The
Yeah.
best.
And I walk up to this house and I have pretty cool shoes on, right? And I'm with Ocean and we're like, trick or treat. And the woman says, wow, your dad has such cool shoes on. And I look down and I'm like, they are cool shoes, but like on what planet do I look like a dad? And I was like, whatever, 2024,
age.
Los
We're
Angeles,
day and age.
California. You're right. I'm wearing both hats. And then I look behind me and Jared's got these chrome shoes on that light up with a donut. Who could not look any gayer, by the way.
He's in full glam. Also, he had full glam.
Glitter.
He had sprinkles drawn on his cheeks, and full glam. So,
He did. He certainly did.
but you know what? He could be a dad with full glam with a woman.
Hey,
in his,
Well, he
anybody
was
can do
right.
anything.
He goes, the amount of times a day that I get, your husband is this, that, and the other when he's with Janet.
oh yeah.
They just constantly think that that's your baby daddy.
I've had people. Jared and I were at the grocery store once, and he was pushing Cameron. I was pushing the cart, and it's always old people. It's like 75 plus. They stop. They're like, I don't have anywhere to be, so you don't have anywhere to be. I need to stop and just tell you how cute your baby is for 20 minutes. This old couple stopped us and was like, I see both of you in him. And I was like, wait. I was
Just
like,
looking at
oh,
Jared
not
and
only
then
you
Jason.
think he's my husband, but father of my child. I'm like, I get it because we're together, we're like chit-chatting, pushing him around the grocery store. I'm sure we looked like a really adorable couple, but I was like, oh my God.
Well, poor Jared. He's over here trying to be as gay as he can, and he's like, I'm still.
It's like the
do I
most
need to be
offensive
gayer?
thing ever.
Like for Jared, yes.
Jason always says like the best compliment is if somebody thinks he's gay. He's like, wow, I must be dressed really well today. My arms must be like ripped.
That's
like,
where I'm coming.
I must look
from.
so good. If they think I'm gay, I'm doing it all right.
100%.
Jared's like, you think I'm a straight man?
Offended.
No, that's
Don't offend me like
He's
that.
like, I need more glitter.
Yeah, he's like, what have I not done? Like, I'm putting all this effort into looking stunning, gorgeous, perfect.
I know.
And you think I'm a straight man?
Yeah, no. It's
Offended.
beyond
Rude.
No, you should have seen his face.
Rude.
He's like, I got dressed up like this just for people to think
Call me
that I'm
straight.
the baby daddy. Absolutely not. I have to say though, Jared. So I took Ocean to a drag show when she was young and obviously doesn't remember, and she loved it, right? Because she's always loved the music, you know, singing.
She's
Mariah
a Lana Del
Carey.
Rey stan too.
She certainly is. Right now, she's on TLC's No Scrubs.
I love that.
That is her whole vibe. We listened to it all the way to school today.
I love it.
But we went to the Paris Hilton suite, which was so fabulous. Ocean had the best time. But Jared arrives at my house before we go, and
full glam.
Gorgeous as ever. And Ocean comes up and goes, Mom, Jared has makeup on.
Oh.
And she was a little nervous. And we learned something. Jared taught my daughter. I thought I had taught her by taking her to a drag show at the age of 1.5, but she clearly didn't remember. But Jared is just teaching Ocean all kinds of things. To like Lana Del Rey.
Yep.
That boys can wear makeup too.
Yep.
And now she's telling us that she wants to put makeup on Easton because boys can wear makeup too.
You have to let her.
You don't think it's like a massage on the face? I'm looking forward to it. I'm like,
You guys need to do a like a TikTok or whatever the kids are doing these days of the process
of my makeup.
Yeah.
And then you need to have her do a voiceover of like, and this is me putting on eyeshadow.
Janet, you're a fucking genius.
No,
And
I
I'm
really.
I would like to
We're
watch
taking that idea, and thank you.
I would like to
I'm
watch
absolutely
that.
doing that. And while we were trick-or-treating, you guys, so I don't know if any of you guys have been living under a rock, but the LA Dodgers took the motherfucking World Series, you guys. Can I get a whoop whoop and an amen?
You're
Hey,
such a
Bart.
sports girl now.
Well, I live with like dudes who constantly like
I
And
know.
we'll be over at the
That's
other house,
the one
and she'll
male
walk
thing
in and
you
go,
get.
"Why aren't you at our house watching it?" So we'll stumble on over to her house, and then
love
she'll
it.
watch it with us.
the house just feels alive. And I got dinner with Stassi the other night and we were talking about sports because game 4 was on and we didn't take it until game 5 in New York. But she was like, we had a phone out and she was like, I just don't, like I'm not into it. She said, but I do love when Bo has football on Sundays because she goes, even when it's just myself, Bo, and the kids, it feels like the house is alive between like the game and cheering
like
and then
that.
Bo's reaction. I feel like that's why I'm into the sports.
Yeah, I like that. I actually have never really thought about it like that because I'm not a sports girly, but there is something that's like active and alive, and there's always like, it makes you feel like cooking something good.
I was just about to say, I know a lot of like people, even dudes, that just like taking care of the people. So they're making the food while we're all watching football, but they just
Yeah.
love to do that. It's like taking care. They like to host.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something about it where you just feel like there's
It's
something
like
about
Monica
being
at Friends.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't like being that person though.
I do.
Well,
Okay, so you can be the host. You hosted the Utah Utes football game a few
Yeah.
years ago.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. But while we were trick-or-treating, we saw
A legend.
a legend. Freddie Freeman.
I didn't
I
know. I was
didn't-
just like, there's a tall guy, and everybody, as he's walking by, everybody is turning around like, oh my God. And I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, look, and I think Cass and Jade, who we were with, they were like, Cass is like a heart doctor. Jade's a school teacher. Like, they don't, no offense, care about like this stuff.
No,
you know what I
not
mean?
at all.
Like, they're like, oh, it's so funny you guys are on TV. They don't care about it.
It's so cute.
So when I saw them fangirl, like both of them, they're huge Dodgers fans. They were like, oh my God, we love you.
Yeah.
And I was like, is
Take
that
your
one
breath
of-
away.
So much I was like, is that one of Cass's friends? Does he know this guy? Like,
And why is he acting so weird around him and
yeah.
flustered?
I was like, what's
I would
going
too.
on? And I think your mom was like, you don't know who that is? And I was like, no.
Lisa, she wouldn't have known who that was
She
either.
definitely did.
She does now.
Well, he was the MVP of the entire series. I mean, he was hitting home runs each game.
He's hitting home runs on and off that field. I saw his wife.
I think he has like 3 kids.
He does, and they're just as cute.
He was declining photos, which I felt bad. Somebody ran up and was like, I love you. Can we take it? And he was like, I'm just trying to have a night with my kids. And I'm like, he would have to do that because if he said yes to one,
oh, it's never
trick or
ending.
treat was so packed, it would have been, his whole night would have just been that.
Well, and he was one day, coming off one day of winning so they won the World Series, trick-or-treating, the next day was
he had the parade.
Yeah.
He had to go home and go to bed and wake up bright and early to celebrate.
I'm sure that he had a drink, but he was like with his family, as they all are, on the bus during the parade, and he had a yerba mate in his hand. Like, he's like full on dad
Wait, is
mode.
that how you say that?
What is it?
How do you say it?
Yerba mate.
You are from Ohio. You also say Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Reese's.
No, absolutely not.
No, I don't like that from you.
Wait, how do you say it?
Reese's.
No,
and you want
the yerba mate.
yerba mate? Isn't that right? Producer John,
I don't know.
it's yerba mate?
I have no idea.
He's over there shaking it. I don't fucking know.
You know when you hear somebody say a word for the first time and you're like, oh, fuck, I've been saying it
Yeah,
wrong.
Bagel.
Don't they have giant yellow vans?
Yeah,
Yerba
it's like,
mate?
it's a
Mate?
kombucha or whatever, right?
Kombucha, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Only you, though. Like, you
Yerba
say we're
mate.
going to Las Vegas, and then when I ask you how...
Vegas?
Las Vegas. Is that not how you... I don't hear it. And then bagel, everybody says I say that weird.
No, we're having words after this. We're having many
She
words.
was telling me how
actually-
Jason proposed, and she was like, he brought in a bunch of bagels. I was like, I have to stop you. I will punch you in the throat if you ever tell this story again and call it a bagel.
Let me tell you, it is ruined my proposal story. Now when I try to tell people like what happened when Jason proposed, I say, in reality, he went and got Hank's bagels, which are our favorite.
Are you sure
thing.
it's not Hank's?
It's
Hank's.
bagels. Anyway,
Hank's bagel?
now when I tell the story, I go, he went and got breakfast. Because every time I say it, people are like, wait, he got what? And I'm like, fuck it, never mind. I'm not going to tell anybody.
We're
Fuck it,
going
never
to the
mind.
bay?
Bagels.
Bagel.
Bagel.
There you go.
Bagels.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Still sounds a little Ohio-ish.
Yeah, well, we're working. Maybe I'll start saying it that way.
I mean,
I avoid the word now.
I'm glad, because that's the whole reason why I wanted you to say it properly, because I'm like, no one's going to care about your gorgeous ring and the fact that you're marrying that
Amazing
sexy
man.
Okay.
Hunk of joy.
No,
really is.
Not only
No, he
is
is.
The
your
cutest.
husband hot, he's like the sweetest human on the planet.
He really is. I don't deserve him. People
You do.
online
You
often
do.
are like, why is he with her? And I'm like, I
Because-
don't know bitches either, okay? He
But
must
don't
be
fucking
dumb.
make aware. Don't make him aware.
He's book
I know.
smart, not
I'm like,
street
yeah,
smart,
I'm
guys.
like, don't bring this up with him because I don't want him to realize that he should be with someone better.
Right. Maybe if they wrote a book about you, then he would read it and be like, this seems like a bad one.
You know what it is? The only reason he's with me? The android.
Oh,
That's his one flaw.
I'm like, you could have had like a brain surgeon, rich lady who was also a supermodel, but you texted her and it was green and she ghosted you.
That's 100%. We've actually spoken about that on the pod before.
yeah. We need to speak to him.
I was
too.
like, Janet, divorce him. These green
green
messages,
bubble.
he fucks up the whole group chat.
I know, but he's perfect in every other aspect of life other than the green texting.
Well, by the way, I fully
that's
agree with you.
dismissal.
It's like he's a real freaking gem, and I'm so happy
best.
for you guys. Thanks to everyone who's been leaving such sweet comments about my 2 beautiful baby girls and on my fabulous hair. I have to thank Nutrafol for helping this hair out. Pregnancy hormones are no joke. I know a lot of you mamas out there know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I started on Nutrafol postpartum right after baby Sosa was born. I take 2 capsules every morning and 2 at night. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement, trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months. Nutrafol is physician formulated with 100% drug-free ingredients, and Nutrafol supplements help support hair growth from within by targeting possible root causes of thinning, including stress, hormones, aging, nutrition, lifestyle, and metabolism as they evolve throughout a woman's life. Just purchase online, no prescription required. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Give Them Lala listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter my promo code LALA10. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and hairstylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LALA10. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LALA10. Who wears the pants in your guys' relationship, would you say?
On the surface, me. Like on every day, I'm like, da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da.
Okay.
On the foundation, Jason 1,000%. But a lot of people don't see that, I feel like. And I feel like, especially when you watch us on the Valley, you would probably be like, oh, Janet's running stuff. Yeah, a nightmare, running stuff, bitchy, like all of those things. But like, Jason lets me get away with a lot of little things, I will say. Like, I'll be like, will you do this? Da-da-da. And I am annoying in that sense. When he comes to me and says, like, hey, this is how we're going to do things, I'm like 100%. And I fully trust him and I let him take the lead in that sense. So a lot of the big decisions we make in life, a lot of the everyday stuff, I'm calling the shots on.
Right.
The big stuff, Jason calls the shots on.
Okay. I think that's healthy.
Yeah.
Very.
How do you feel, like, what's the game plan? I always wonder when people are in partnerships, like, how does the going out work? Like, how does it work where it's like, I want to have girls' night or he wants to have guys' night? Is that like a big discussion? Is it a planned thing where he's like, hey, in 2 weeks, I'm going to do this, put it on the calendar? What is it like?
I mean, we love our friends. We're both also such homebodies now that we don't go out nearly as often. So when one of us wants to do something, it's normally like somebody's birthday or something that's, more fun or, more important. And it's, normally, hey, we have a shared calendar. And it's like, hey, next Thursday, do you have anything? I want to do this with my friends. And I'm like, next Thursday, I'm free. You go do that, and I'll make sure I'm home with the baby, especially if my mom's not here. But yeah, as long as it works on the calendar, we both just, let each other do our thing. Because it's not like either one of us are like going out, even like twice or 3 times a week unless there's a very good, strange reason.
Right. Like you're filming a show.
Yeah. Or there's like 3 birthdays that week and it's all, something like that. But like for the most part, it's like, once a week, probably he goes out with his friends. Once a week, I go out with mine. We also love doing stuff together. So when my mom's here, we're like, ditch that baby and let's go do something.
Yeah. Like your foundation is, you guys are obviously intimate with each other, but I think the foundation has to be, you guys have to be best friends because that's what's going to keep, listen to me, I'm talking like I know relationships when I haven't had a functioning one since I was like 12, 17 really. But when you guys are parenting, because you're relatively new at motherhood.
Yeah.
Right?
Almost 11 months in, so still in the first year.
I still feel like I'm a new parent with Ocean.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
It's new every single day. They start learning to do stuff, and you have to parent those things.
Right. And by the way, it doesn't get easier with a second kid because it's like, well, you're not giving me the same kid where I know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's a whole new
Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I had never thought about that, actually.
When's this one gonna fucking pop?
Huh. I'm like, okay, I know how to do this phase. You're right. What if the kid's different?
It's a different kid.
No,
It never occurred to me.
You feel more comfortable in motherhood with the second, but it's still like, oh, this is new. I don't really know what to do about this type of stuff.
Huh.
I
hadn't thought about that.
So what would you say the most challenging part of becoming a mom has been?
Not letting guilt get to you.
Okay.
Like, you have to have balance. Like, going out once a week with your friends, do it. If you have, this time in your schedule and it works with leaving your kids somewhere safe. Don't just go out. And then I would say, like, dividing and conquering all the new to-do list things.
Right.
Like, there's all this new stuff that you have to do. So, like, how to manage that effectively. Like, cleaning the bottles. Like, who's going to do that? Who are we managing? How are we doing all of this? Like, and getting it used to a whole new routine. But I would say, like, not letting the mom guilt get to you is tough. And it's a constant, like, sometimes I'll be like, I need an hour. He's napping. I'm just going to sit and, like, do something. And then 45 minutes in, I'm like, why am I doing this? I should be doing all this other stuff. So you have to, like, find the balance of, like, give yourself the hour and then get your shit done. And don't feel bad for it.
Right. I always wonder if that is something that women feel all over the world, or if it's an American thing where we have been like shoved into these positions of like, you can sleep when you're dead, you know?
Yeah, I hate
I
that.
don't
Like you're never
that.
doing enough.
You're
like
never
if you're
doing
chilling,
enough.
you should be doing something.
If you have time to chill, then you have time to do this. And it's like, well, I kind of just want to chill though.
Yeah,
I lie to myself and just say it's my lunch break.
I like
And
that.
I'm on lunch break, whatever.
I like that. It's also, we're also seeing every other mom's highlight reel on social media. So you look at everybody else's thing and you're like, wow, she got so much shit done in the day. And you have to remind yourself, like, you're not seeing all the in between, you're not seeing the downtime, you're not seeing all of that. But it's really easy to compare, I feel like, to other people. My favorite mom content is when people are like, my kid is fucking stupid and here's why.
Yes.
Today.
And can you help me?
Yes.
Yep.
And like, or like admitting failure. Like, I'm drowning
That's
today.
mine.
What do I do? And I'm like, thank God.
Somebody
like,
else
thank
is
God.
fucked up
Yeah.
with me.
As much as I hate the term relatable queen, it's like, I
Yeah.
really do love it and feel seen.
Give Them Lala is sponsored by BetterHelp. This month is all about gratitude, and along with everyone we're thankful for, there's another person we don't usually thank enough: ourselves. It's sometimes hard to remind ourselves that we are trying our best to make sense of everything, and in this crazy world, that is not always easy. BetterHelp can help with that. Therapy can remind us to slow down and take stock of just how far we've come on our journey, and remind us to really take a look at ourselves and appreciate what we see. Therapy is helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time with no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/GTL today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/GTL.
What do you do when you find an hour? Like, what do you do for downtime for you? Even at night, when a bubble bath, what do you do for you? With
I love a bath.
Is
I
that you?
love
Love
a
a
bath.
bath.
I love the
Because
bath.
you're busy as hell. You deserve
I love a
you
bath.
time.
Yes. And now half the time when I have a bath, it's with Cameron. So it's like to be by myself in the bath.
Isn't it
nice? Honestly, just sometimes I just like to mindlessly scroll and like binge watch Housewives, just kind of do something that just takes me out of life for a second and I can just look at dumb shit.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Like getting a good book, but I will say I always go to Housewives. And if I don't have
Yeah.
a new one to watch, my go-to is watching OG Roni because there's nothing better than OG Roni.
Truly.
Are you caught up?
I'm caught up on Orange County,
Love it.
Salt Lake.
Okay.
I need to binge Potomac, but I'm not there yet.
Potomac's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm
I
actually
love
enjoying
all
it.
of them. And I just met Karen Huger
The Grand Dame.
for the first time.
Where did you meet her?
She was at the DirecTV party. And
Okay.
let me tell you, I beelined to that woman and I was like, I love you. I love you. She was so fabulous. She was super sweet. She actually stood and talked to me for like 15 minutes. She was super nice. She was like, "Oh, I have heard of your show." I'm like, "There's no way she's heard of our show." Like, she
may have.
sure, yeah, the Valley or whatever. But she was so nice. That's like probably for me one of the most fun things is I've been a Bravo fan for so long.
Yeah.
Being a part of it and seeing these people in the flesh and then being able to talk to them and just, I don't know.
On the same level.
And just party with them and chit chat.
So
It's
much
just
fun.
so fun to be able to be like, I love you, girl.
No, truly. Like that's what's made it hard though, is especially doing this podcast because we do recaps and just like how we feel. And I always feel like I have to first state, like, I love all of them because I know how the sausage is made.
Totally.
And just because someone has like a bad season or they say something that maybe I'm like, it's like, that doesn't really just embody who that person is. So let's just stick to what was on TV.
Yes.
You know, it's hard because I'm like, I know
fully
how the fans work, and I'm like, someone's gonna listen to this, someone's gonna cut it, someone's gonna send it, and I'm not in the DM, so I don't know what anyone says about me because I'm terrified of the DMs.
It's a
and
scary
comment.
place.
It's a scary,
terrifying
hairy
in there.
place.
It's Halloween all year round in there.
Year round, it.
No,
That's what it's called.
I watch
It.
differently now too.
Right.
It's after you're on it, you're like, that could be the worst one thing they said and for months, and it's the thing that people are going to see the most. So I give everybody a much bigger grain of salt after experiencing it myself.
Yes.
I had to yell at my mom. On the way over here, I was on the phone with my mom, and I was like, I'm going to Lala's podcast. She's like, oh, what are you guys going to talk about? I'm like, we're recapping stuff. My mom watches Orange County too. And I was like, so we'll probably talk, some of the housewives, some of this stuff. She goes, you tell her that Alexis Bellina needs to go. I do not like her. That woman is just running her mouth everywhere. And I go, Mom, that's what people say about me.
You know what? Who cares though? Because
It's crazy when you can be like,
she's running her mouth everywhere. I'm like, I run my mouth everywhere. I'm like, Alexis Bellino probably is a mom somewhere too that's like, my daughter is actually a very lovely, kind person, just like you say about
you know what
me.
though? I actually believe Alexis probably is a very kind and lovely person. Let's jump into OC because it was the
Let's
finale.
jump in.
Yeah, let's jump right in. Bend right over.
Oh.
Tomorrow is the first reunion. I'm so fucking excited. But Alexis, I think, could be a gem, but she's attached herself to this Johnny J. I only go off of my experiences, right? So I can only look at someone and go, this reminds me of A, B, C, and D. And because I'm not an idiot, I know how the alphabet works. I know that 2 + 2 = 4. This guy's probably a narcissist. I'm just going to go with that. I'm really worried about her. And the flashback scene of her talking to Tamara, being like, he's the one, he's so great. Mm-hmm. And he goes to the confessional and is like, she's the one, there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to be with her forever. And they flash back to him saying the same thing to Shannon.
Yeah. It's a yikesy.
It's a yikes.
Well, Shannon and her kind of remind me of the same person.
What? Really?
Shannon, if Shannon was younger, I feel like that's just Alexis. He's attracted to the same person, looks-wise. They look similar to me. I don't know if that's just me, but when I look at
the man's perspective, I think
he
they
just
look nothing else. Easton's she's blonde, the other one's blonde, good bodies. They wear dresses, same person.
Just traded it in for a younger
I look
one.
like Alexis Bellino,
No.
and I've gotten comments on my Instagram being like, "You and Johnny J are never going to work," and I want to reply and be like, "Well, yeah, I'm
Wrong
not
one.
with him, so
You're on the wrong page."
Hopefully, it doesn't work with him because I'm married to someone else."
You're like, oh no, do you think it won't work out because I had a baby with another man and
With a
married
ring
him
on it?
behind Johnny J's back?
I did see Alexis and Johnny J at the DirecTV and the Us Weekly party together. So I've seen them make their rounds on the red carpet too.
Oh,
Did you throw
God.
apples and shit at him?
I didn't say hi to them.
Tomatoes.
I actually
Easton.
wanted
People throw
to,
tomatoes,
but
not apples.
I throw apples. Comes
Okay.
with a harder hit.
Okay, keep going.
No,
Janet?
I wasn't caught up yet when I ran into them, so I was like, oh, I don't know what to
Steer
say.
clear.
But what were they like? Were they camera hungry?
They were walking the carpet and doing everything. So, but their show's airing right now, so that's what they're supposed to do. But for somebody who said that he wasn't interested in that, let me tell you, you can tell when people aren't interested and don't want to do the things because they don't do the things. He was definitely getting in the mix, it seems like.
He's got confessionals with Alexis. It's beyond, and I'm really trying to clear my name. I'm like, clear your name by going away.
Right.
People continue to talk about you because you keep appearing on our television.
You're front and center. Yeah.
Yes. And it's very annoying that you see Shannon, who's obviously upset and she wants to be done with you, right? But you continue to take her into this legal pit of hell. And then also show up in her place of work. You're a dog.
I agree.
A dog.
Ready to elevate your shopping experience? Then tune in to Amazon Live. And for those of you who don't know what Amazon Live is, let me tell you, you are missing out. Amazon Live is a shoppable video experience on Amazon where you can learn about the hottest products from creators like me and shop while you're watching. My channel is full of cruelty-free beauty must-haves, essential fashion basics that I actually wear during the show, and lots of my go-to parenting products. On Amazon Live, you can also ask questions in the live chat and have fun with whoever's streaming. Amazon Live also has plenty of tea with reality stars like Kyle Richards, Paige DeSorbo, and of course, yours truly. So I just finished my new Amazon Live series. It's called Mama Still Got It, where we brought a mix of personal anecdotes, parental advice, and interactive segments with special guests from my pod like Christina Kelly and Michelle Lally. I also usually have Jess, who is my brain, and my brother Easton, who's like the right half of my body, on Amazon Live with me. My mom pops in, sometimes Ocean pops in. We have a lot of fun when we're doing Amazon Live. It feels like we're recording an episode of the Give Them Lala podcast. My sides usually hurt from laughing so hard, and hopefully yours will too. Amazon Live is an exclusive look into my life that cameras don't always get to show. We've also built such a great Amazon Live community. It's such a safe and positive space for me, so I want to thank you guys so much for creating one of my most favorite places, which is my Amazon Live community. Amazon Live is the perfect partnership for me, as Amazon has really come through for me when it comes to motherhood and giving birth and all the things I did not know that I needed. I logged on, I ordered them, and they arrived like that. I literally revealed the gender of baby Sosa on one of my live streams. My Amazon Live community has been absolutely incredible. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. So stream and shop my new show, Mama Still Got It, on Amazon Live by going to amazon.com/live/LalaKen. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.
I love when they flash to Ryan and he's in that like pretty horrific suit.
Oh, yeah.
But actually was tailored really well. So you weren't sure. You're like, is it super bad or is it really fucking good? I'm not sure. I can't tell. But he got it on Amazon and the theme was like tacky bridesmaids and another reason to like really be annoyed at Alexis. What's her name again?
Alexis
Bellino. She wasn't even in a tacky wedding dress.
Oh, I
Her
know.
hair was tacky as fuck.
Isn't it always?
You don't tell everybody to dress up tacky or in something bad. Or it's like when you tell everybody, like, come over, I'll be in sweats. And then you come over in sweats and that person's all dressed up. You're like, fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Like, yeah.
Your karma is that you're uncomfortable and I'm not.
Right.
So you may look good, but I'm sure
But I feel good.
But I feel good. And when you get to your 30s, you just want to feel good.
And when you feel good, you look good.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm worried for Jen because she's very sweet. And at the very end of the episode, everything comes out that he's like laundering money, right? Allegedly.
Do we think he's that dumb?
What do you mean? I think a lot of people are that dumb.
I mean, people are dumb in laundering money. Are you that stupid to see what happened to Jen Shaw and all of that and then bring it to television?
Oh, you're saying like, are you that dumb to go on TV knowing you're doing something illegal?
Yeah, like, and then just saying, yeah, they could pick me up.
Narcissists never think they're going to get caught.
Thank you.
There it is.
I was sitting here and I'm like, I'm not.
Well, you're going to get caught when you blab about it on a Housewives.
Yeah.
Like, if he wasn't under pressure, you just did it to yourself.
But I think most narcissists feel like they're invincible.
They've gotten away with it for so long that it's just like, yeah, you know what? I haven't had consequences for my actions for the last
20
5 years, and I've been doing all this stuff to make all this money or whatever it is. Like, why would you think you're going to get caught? You've gotten away with it for so long.
Right. No, it's pretty wild. And what was the most heartbreaking is Jen, who's like older than us, asking Gina after she's like, Gina says, this is like not good for you. You cannot marry him. Like, he's not good for you. And she goes, but what about him isn't good for me?
Everything.
Oh, God. It's really, I mean, it's hard. It's hard being in a relationship with a giant red flag. It's also so hard watching your friends do that, especially if they aren't seeing it.
But that's
because
why
their hearts aren't involved and hers is. It would be like take the way you feel about Jason and then take everything about Jason and what he does for a living out of it. Just take how you feel about him and add all the red flags. Do you think you could see past them?
That would be tough. I mean, now, like, if we were engaged and I found out that he was in some sort of shady business practice, I would call it off.
You would have to. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, like now, I'm like so.
now you get your ducks in a row and put everything in your name and get the hell out.
But honestly, if he was doing something illegal now too, or like not allegedly, whatever word I have to say.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
This is all allegedly.
All allegedly. That would also be, it's a betrayal of like, you were doing all of this. It's almost like cheating if he was running illegal or shady business practice behind the scenes and was keeping that all secret from me. Like, that's almost like an affair in my mind.
Well, how I feel about it as well is
100%.
like, if he's going to do all that shady business, his whole life has become shady to me.
100%. I think so too. And I always tell people, like, actually I learned this from someone. There was like this guy, and I cannot remember, but he was a really good dude, and I believe he was a lawyer. And he said, not Jason, don't worry. But he said to me, I don't do deals. I've gone out with men on business trips, and they're messing around on their wives. He said, I immediately put my guard up and do not work with them, because if you could do that to your wife, what the fuck could you do to me?
I've seen this clip before, and I totally agree. The person you're sleeping next to every night, you're going to lie to and go to bed dirty and all of that. Of course you're going to scam me for some cash.
100%.
There's a lot less to lose there than there is in a marriage. So I completely agree. And I think the same thing when I see people messing around and doing things.
I'm seeing parallels. So you're caught up on Salt Lake. Mm-hmm. There's this new girl, Brittany, and she's kind of like stolen the show with her relationship. And it's so strange to me. I think it's because she's like technically dating an Osmond. But it's so crazy to see these women ignore all the red flags. They're not much, but they're like in their late 40s,
They're old
early
enough
50s.
to know better.
Yeah.
Much older than the two of us. And I just can't even imagine letting this shit fly, especially now that I have 2 children. These women, like this Brittany, is completely up in the night.
It's wild. I mean, the guy is literally like, well, I guess we just can't be together. Carry on. And she's like, ugh. Like, it's like he's literally telling you to your face, I'm not promising you anything. I don't want anything. We're friends. And she's like not moving on. I'm like, get out of there.
She obviously, I don't know if she practices Mormonism because Angie rolls up to her house, this like Mormon campfire or something that the Mormons do. And Angie brings her wine.
Oh, yeah.
And Brittany's like, it is so inappropriate. And Angie's like, I've seen you drink wine on multiple occasions. Like, what's so inappropriate about it? So I'm assuming that she
Two-Face.
has sex, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's not a true, I think that's what's fucking her up.
Because she's trying to be Mormon, but not living a Mormon life.
Well, I think the guilt weighs heavy on her. But I also think what's messing with her mind when this guy, who's like very handsome, is telling her, I cannot be with you and give you what you want, but he'll certainly throw the dick. She's confusing his words and intimacy. And Easton and I talked about this on a podcast a while ago, that she, because she was in the Mormon church for so long, she doesn't understand what a friend with benefits is. She's letting the dick cloud her, where she thinks intimacy is love.
Yep. Because in Mormonism, you're supposed to wait till marriage.
Yeah, and she wanted.
And you're only supposed to make the man happy.
Doesn't butt stuff not count?
No, and you can marinate. So shove it in there and just float away.
Was it you that just told me about marinating recently? Because I had never heard this term. I think it was at your house. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah, good soak.
Yeah.
In her confessional, she talks about her mom's relationship with her dad, and it was a fairy tale romance. They met, and how long?
6 days they dated, got engaged, got married within what?
Like a couple months,
Yeah.
I think.
And then have been married.
50 years
Yeah.
or something.
53 years. And I'm like,
I think she's trying to chase that.
My love, that's called Papa wanted to put his dick in your mom.
Yeah. That's also the exception, not the rule of like relationships. Most people who probably get engaged after 6 days probably doesn't last.
I've only seen 2 other that I can recall, 2 other cities where the men, the husbands of the housewives, have had scenes together. How do we feel? Like, you're on a show with dudes, husbands. That's what the show is based on, right? Housewives is about the chicks, right? I have seen the men have their little scenes on OG Beverly Hills, and I've seen it heavy on Jersey.
Yeah, Jersey. I was going to say that.
Jersey is heavy.
The dudes could have their own show on Jersey.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do we feel about, do you like seeing husband scenes? My favorite line was Justin, which is Whitney Rose's husband, where Lisa Barlow's husband, John, reaches out to Justin and says, you know, we should get together and talk about what happened. And Justin goes,
I'm going to be
I'm
straightforward.
just going to be straightforward and tell him, you know, sounds good. I'm like,
Damn.
yeah.
Don't be any more straightforward. Yeah. May never talk to him again.
Do you like watching the husband scenes?
I love it. I
Really?
actually think it makes for some of the best TV. I think some of my favorite seasons are when the husbands get involved. And I do think it's part of the reason that the Valley and Vanderpump are both heavily watched and very successful, because it adds a dynamic that you don't see. And there's something about when something happens with Jason, I'm right there with him. You know what I mean? And then it kind of crosses over and you see this, it's just a different dynamic. I think on Orange County, you know, with Ryan jumping in and there's, you know, and Tamara's husband and him getting into it, it adds a whole nother level where I'm like, oh, this is good. Like this
you
is
feel
good.
like the stakes are higher.
Stakes are higher. And you see a different, you see that person with their like mama bear energy. You know, when it's like, don't come after my husband or, you know, it's
don't
like,
come after my wife. And I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah.
I know. I was just about
Yeah.
to say, half the fighting between the dudes is because of the wives.
Yeah.
It's all because of the wives. And they're like standing up. How I
Yeah.
looked at the Justin fight with, John?
John, yeah.
Is both of them were just trying to stand up for their wives,
Yeah.
not knowing, like, take that out. They would have been just standing, having a drink together,
Yeah.
not doing anything. It's the wives that got them into it. And I like it because it does make the stakes higher. And I love to see these men acting cool and chill and all that. And then when shit hits the fan, you see that real person come out
Yeah.
and you're like, never seen that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you
I'm
get-
about to squash his ass.
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh shit.
Yeah.
You were chill and now I really get to see you. No, if the guys go, like I've seen
And Justin's big.
No, and I was just about to see, I've seen the producers and the cameramen, and if shit
Yeah.
really hit the fan, they're not keeping them back.
no, it's
They
scary.
need like Jerry. They need those type
Yeah.
of security guards on your guys' shows.
No.
For the men.
for real though.
yeah.
Because men, that's the other thing. Women will fight and bicker and all that, but they'll leave it. Men, you saw it with Justin, kind of like, I don't think he was angrily stepping at.
No.
What's her
but
name?
John would have gotten his ass beat.
Oh, yeah.
John would have
John
been at the
stepped in
dentist. Yeah.
aggressively.
I would have been pissed off, and I like Justin when he was like, I don't think I owe them an apology right now. It's like, you owe Justin one, John. You just come in
Yeah.
there, shove him, stay out of it. It's like, well, you're kind of putting yourself into it. So instead of doing that, how about you just grab me, like tap me and just be like, come and talk to me. Let's stay out of it.
Well, and he didn't say the fuck word. He just
No,
said
don't call my wife a fucking
a
liar.
fucking liar. He's
Yeah.
like, don't say the fuck word to my wife.
Well, she
say
came
fuck
over.
all
Your
day
wife's
to
a
her.
fucking liar. Your wife's a fucking liar. He's
Yeah.
like, don't say my wife's a fucking liar. And then she's like, you said the F word. I'm like, wait a second.
Don't come at me accusing my wife of something, and I'm just I'm.
That's when I wish that they had replay, because there are times where I go
Yes.
toes and I'm like, you did this. And they're like, no, you did this. And I'm like, I think that might be true.
That's one of the hardest things
I'm
I
not
think about
gonna
being
believe it.
on these shows, and maybe something that the audience doesn't realize is like when a heated moment happens, somebody says something, then it sets everything off. You don't call producers the next day and say, hey, go ahead and send me over that. I wish they would send over the footage, but like you can't watch it immediately. So then you're like, okay, this is how I remember this. And you maybe sometimes go too hard and like, I'm right, you're wrong. And then it airs 6 months, a year, whatever it is later. And you're like, oh shit. I did start this or whatever.
Do you black
it is.
out sometimes when you're like not drinking,
Yeah.
but just like the filming blackout? Because
You
I'll
know-
black out here sometimes. I'm like, oh,
So
Yeah.
I leave here and go, what did we even talk about?
I normally remember roughly what I said. Season 1, because I was pregnant and completely sober, everybody called me the next day and they're like, how did this happen? I'm like, well, first you said this, then this person said this, then this person stood up. Like the episode where we were all at the Mondrian having dinner and everyone got into it in the hallway. It was like Jesse, Luke, Michelle.
Okay.
Everybody's,
Yes.
screaming at each other. That night, everybody's like, how did we, because it happened so fast, how did we get here? And that was another one where like producers ripping people apart and getting in the middle, and you know it's not good when you see all the producers running
Jumping in.
Yeah. It's also an interesting position being when you're filming with a partner. You want that partner to stick up for you in certain stuff, but you also don't want them to jump in too much. It's like
and become part of
A
a
balance.
problem
it's a
or
tough
something.
thing. Yeah, when Jason's, in something and something's going on and he's, having heavy talk with somebody or somebody says something to him, it is like a moment where you really have to take a look at it and say, do I jump in and defend him, or do I want him to jump in and defend me right now? Or can I handle my own, and do I got this? And would I be like mad at him if he jumps in? Because
Right.
you experience both. I've had times where I'm like, where were you on that one, Jason?
Yeah.
I'm like, didn't you hear? And he's like, huh? What? Like, I'm like, never mind. Or there's times where it's like, he jumps in and I'm like, zit. I'm like, I got this. You stay back there.
Yes.
See, it's
I
hard
can
being
handle
a guy.
this.
Because if I was Jason and you're in a fight, I'm like, do I need to tap on?
Right.
You
You
walk a fine line,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think, as a dude.
It's a case by case scenario of like,
They also walk the line of, if I jump in, am I going to be looked at as someone who's aggressive?
right.
I think it would be really hard to be a dude. Like, as a chick, we can kind of go toes and do the whole damn thing. Whereas a dude, if he inserts himself to protect his wife when it's girl-on-girl crime, the other chick could easily say, like, whoa, you got a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And immediately that label is not great. It's a trigger word.
Yeah. And once you're kind of labeled at that, you're kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I know. You wear it forever. I mean, these Bravo fans, they do not let you forget your past.
No.
Speaking of past.
It's almost like they have it on video.
I know,
It's almost like
right?
they could watch it anywhere. I was watching Potomac, and I've always told people do not sleep on Potomac. Since season 1, I was like, this is gold. This season, they have not an entirely new cast, but they let go of Robin Dixon and Candace Dillard. I got nervous because I thought both of those women were extremely, like, they needed them. They were heavy hitters in the game. I was sad to see them go. But they've replaced them with some even heavier hitters.
Okay, now I'm excited to
All right.
watch.
No,
It's good, and that's
it's
coming
really
from me.
good.
Okay.
All right?
You would tell me.
Yeah.
So rather than breaking it down, I'm going to ask you guys how you feel about certain things. The first one is they're celebrating Wendy's birthday. And suddenly it becomes like this whole conversation of people throwing shade, and then it's immediately bringing up everyone's past. And it's like, well, you dated a drug dealer. And she's like, when? And they're like, the boyfriend before this. And it's like, okay, well, you used to be a stripper. And I'm like, okay, this is where filming a show gets really, really sticky. Because it is all about bringing in new blood, because we, number one, just need new faces, but we also need other people to kind of take the punches. When you signed on for the Valley, were you at all nervous about things that you have done in your past may come up? Or were you like, I'm not worried about that. I'll talk about it if it's brought up. And is it fair for people to hold you to your past? Like, this entire dinner was everyone holding each other to their past.
I think it's one of those things. Okay, there's always, I feel like, a thread in every cast or every show where if you pull that thread, everything's going to unravel. I actually feel like you saw it on Orange County recently, especially when you have close friends that are now on the outs. When one secret comes out, it's like, oh, well, you want to tell them that secret? I feel like it happened on Orange County with Tamara and Shannon. They both, had each other's backs for so long. So as soon as one of them said, oh, well, you did this, it was like,
Gloves off.
Gloves off. We're going back and forth. And you have a lot of ammo when you've been friends with somebody for 15 years like they have been.
Yeah, but what's wild is the receiving person is like, can the both of you just shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
Like, the only person affected, you're trying to
All of
prove that
us.
the other person's shitty. You're both shitty. Please be quiet.
Right. I totally agree. And on a personal level, when Jason and I, before we agreed to have cameras in our lives, we sat down and we went through and we were like, what's the worst stuff from our past that we think could come up? Is there enemies or people we don't talk to or exes or anything that we're afraid of? And if there are, let's talk it out now and then decide if we want to be more public people or not. And I think everything that we kind of discussed, it was like, yep, this might come up. Like, I've been married and divorced. Like, there could be stuff there or, in past relationships. Sure. Nothing, though, that I was like, we can't do this. I think anything that you bring up from my past now, I could answer to and say, like, maybe not, proudly. I wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm happy I did this. But
you'd own it.
I'd own it. I'd be like, yeah, I fucked up back then. I shouldn't have done this thing. And I've grown from it. And here's how I've learned or whatever. So I think you do, before you, agree to be a public person, you do have to backtrack and think, like, what's the worst thing I've ever said or done that could be thrown in my face, and how would I answer to it now? And I just think as long as you're authentic and you are okay with, like, I think hiding thing is the worst thing you can do.
Well, it is. I from personal experience, season 5 was a nightmare, me hiding my relationship. Cut to season 7 where it comes out that I ate Ariana out in the back of Sandoval's car, and it would have been a huge thing. But because we just kind of talked about it, it like lived for 5 seconds and died. Like, there's something, and I think Mia on Potomac has conquered the art of, like, I was a stripper. I fucked around on my husband. while I, during the time that my child was conceived and my new boyfriend who I've been with on the side since high school, it may be his child. And everyone, is sitting there going like, wow, this is pretty wild. But no one's sitting there being like,
Yeah.
talking about it because she just lays it all out there. Let's discuss.
But if it was somebody else uncovering it like in a scene without
then
her,
it's a big
then
thing.
one person spreads it, then it's a whole episode and potentially a whole season talking about that.
Right. We also have on Potomac the Grand Dame, who's allegedly gotten a DUI.
I did not know that, by the way.
She's got
until after
Didn't
I posted with her and people
They
were like,
did a whole list of her ticketing.
They did, and it was long.
It was a laundry list.
But I love the Grand Dame.
me too.
And in her interview,
Just
there's
don't
one
drink
of
and
them,
drive.
Please don't drink and drive. I do love the Grand Dame. And we're now kind of seeing two shows run parallel when it comes to like the Grand Dame, Karen, and Shannon on OC. And I think when you're a part of a show where like you're able to drink, and many women do it and they're totally fine, right? I'm not naming any of these women alcoholics, but their cast members are raising red flags about their drinking. And I want to know, Janet, because I think about this all the time. We're a part of shows where you're supposed to live your authentic life and everything is out there, and let's mention it all. Do you think that something like this, someone's drinking problem or lack of, should be spoken about on camera? Or do you think that conversations like that should take place on the off season and then just spoken about like what happened during that time on camera?
It depends.
Okay.
I would say if the person while they're filming is getting trashed, or like it's very obvious while you're filming that this is a problem, and maybe even if it built up from time you weren't filming, but while you're filming, you're noticing red flags with drinking, then I think it's okay to say, hey, you did this thing on camera. How can I not mention that it's been an ongoing problem?
Okay, well, what about these women who they got into accidents? Allegedly, they got into accidents. And then it's posted about, and it's all when cameras are down, off season, and they're having to attend court at some point. Is that fair game to talk about on camera and say, I think you have a drinking problem?
I think it's fair to talk about it on camera because
Okay.
it happened and it's news. So it's like, the audience that puts you on this show, they're seeing these articles. They want to
want it
hear
addressed.
about it. Yeah. So I think it's also just totally how you address it. If you take full accountability and you lay out a plan of how you plan on changing and your behavior is aligned with that plan, then I think people should give you a little bit of a break. But if you're coming in and nothing seems to have changed, you don't seem to have learned your lesson at all, and you're still heavily drinking, then I think your friends should be able to say, hey, this is worrisome. I think Tamara went hard. Like, I think
She
she's
always goes hard, though. That's
hard.
who she is. She's got grit. And
Yeah.
I relate to her because I deliver you a package covered in shit. But if you can dig real nice and deep, you'll find that my heart's in the right place.
I think she's calling, out what she's seeing. And I think that that's also what you have to do when you're on a show. You can't just sit there and ignore everything. Otherwise, it'd be the most boring thing ever.
As a viewer, you signed up for what you're doing. I want to see it all.
Same. I do too.
You guys are on this TV show to
agree.
show it all. Show me it all. You signed your life to it. You could have said no.
100%.
Yeah.
Show me everything.
Okay.
That
I
is
like
how
that.
I feel.
I think if you want to hide something from the cameras, if you're having an affair, if you have a drinking problem, if you have a skeleton in your closet and you don't want it to come out during filming, protect it, hide it, but don't do the thing. Like,
Yeah.
it'd be like, if I was having an affair and I keep it completely quiet or whatever and it doesn't come out, fine. But if I'm telling my castmates and friends about it off camera and saying like, hey,
Then it's fair game.
then
Yeah.
of course they're going to bring it up.
You
So
ha-
it's one of those things. If you want to hide something, keep it like you hide it. But you can't expect your castmates to hide stuff if you're doing things off camera that are sneaky.
Right. And like, don't hide skeletons in your closet. Like, maybe
wanna see
bury them in the
'em.
backyard and then like dig where you're going to have the foundation for a pool.
Or open your closet, show
You gotta
everybody the
dig a
skeleton,
deep
and they
ass
will
hole.
forget about it 5 minutes later if you're just like, yep, here it is.
Right. Like, did I really see that? I'm not quite sure. Would
Like-
she have put it on full display if it was a big deal?
Yeah.
God, I love you have a soothing voice.
Thank you.
I
Enjoyed
love
this.
listening to you.
Thank you.
At the end of each episode of the Give Them Lala podcast, we do an ache and relief of the week. Easton, would you like to start us off?
Oh, fuck. My ache of the week. Let's try to come up with one, huh?
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Go first.
Okay, my ache and relief are one in the same. We'll start off with my ache. My ache is that my ride or die, Jessica, is no longer going to be working for me, and she will no longer be on the podcast. My relief is that she is going to go spread her wings
And fly high.
and fly, and we wish her all the best. I love her more than anything, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do in her future.
Me too. Love
It's
Jess.
bright.
Yes.
It's very bright future ahead of her.
Yes. What's yours, TT?
I mean, I think that's my ache.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just losing her. It was family, but I want her to go and be successful in all the things that she's wanting in life, and I'm excited to see her shine and do all the things that she's wanting to do.
Amen to that.
So that is my ache, is just restructuring the
life.
life. She did so well. But yeah,
Yes.
that's the ache, is just losing her, and then the relief is just it's been life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New
I feel
chapter.
really good. Yeah, I feel good. I've been
Are we allowed to say it?
what?
Your 90 days?
I mean, that's the thing, because they say they don't want to bring it to television and shit. But
Well, I broke that a long time ago.
all right. Well, yeah, I'm 90 days sober to anyone who gives a shit.
We all give a shit.
hey.
Good job,
So I hit 90,
TT.
and yeah, it's like a little pink cloud back. I got a little chip, so it's like I got my reward.
I
You
love
so
did.
now, yeah. So now I feel good. Like my relief is just I feel very good.
Good.
That.
So thank
No
you.
weed. He's
No.
just.
Wow.
I'm sleeping amazing now. Like I'm tired.
I would
wa-
say
yeah.
it takes. I was a huge stoner, then quitting. I quit for a while, and then I obviously had to quit when I was pregnant, breastfeeding, all that. I feel like 90 days is the mark where it's out of your
yes,
body fully.
That's how I feel.
Like, did you get the sweats at first and stuff?
Yep, like I was shaking. Like at night, I was like restless legs. Like I would just
Yeah.
get up and like walk around. And
90 days, I feel like, is when your system like fully clears something
Yeah.
out, and
Yes.
you can feel like I don't
like
know.
I feel like my
Normal again?
body,
Yeah.
like my body and mental is all one again.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Yeah, like all my chakras are aligned.
Right.
Is
totally.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Well, we're very proud of you,
Thank
TT.
you.
Love it.
You're welcome.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Janet, do you have an ache and relief?
I will say, okay, this weekend I had Jason was out of town. So my ache was like missing him and like our chill weekend vibes. But my relief was realizing that I can take care of my own baby for 72 hours without my mom, without Jason, without Jared. It was just the two of us
Without
this
Jared.
weekend. Jared's a big help in our family.
Trust me, we know.
it's
Even when he
like-
comes over, I'm like, yeah, so fucking
He's
another
so
babysitter.
good. Yeah, he's so good with all the kids. Jared's number one favorite for Cameron right now. If I'm holding Cameron and Jared walks in, he lunges out of my arms into Jared's arms.
Oh.
So Jared's currently number one. And Jared, I could tell he's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, enjoy this. You're the
Yeah.
chosen one.
I know, right?
I'm not bothered by it. You be number one.
Yeah.
Like, fine. But yeah, I had a whole weekend where I had nothing except for Cameron and I, and we stayed home all weekend, and we did a couple things, but we like, for the most part, just chilled. And I was like, okay, I was worried that I was gonna be exhausted and this was gonna be really hard. And I did it.
You did it. Yes, bitch.
Mama, that's the hardest job.
It was tough, but
I now know that.
survived.
You survived. We're so happy
Survived.
for you. It is intimidating. Sometimes I look at my kids and I'm like, it's just you and me?
What's it called? They left, and we had a night nurse coming, thank God. I had to stay with the baby for 20 minutes. And it felt like 4 hours.
You're
I
like,
was just
what are we supposed to
staring.
talk about?
Yeah, I was like, if this thing dies, I'm gonna die.
Oh my God! Let's
I
not even
know.
on that note, Easton. We'll have you out at 20 minutes. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Give Them Lala podcast,
Thanks
Janet.
for having me.
You're so welcome. We can't wait to have you back on
Yeah.
again.
Can't wait. I would love to.
You're amazing, and you guys are amazing. Remember that the bonus episodes come out on Mondays. That video drops same day, and you can watch this episode on YouTube on Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I love you. Bye. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the Give Them Lala podcast. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Did I get all three? I'm getting really good at that.